TIFU by getting left behind on a school trip and changing policy. Many years ago, I went to a new, under-construction middle school. I was in the first cohort. Halfway through school year, we went to a field trip on the school bus. At the end of the day, everyone went back on the school bus. Except my friend and I failed to get on the meetup place at 2 p.m. And they forgot about us. We approached the front management and I explained our predicament. The front desk tried contacting the school's receptionists to no avail, since the reception closed at 3:45, so we were stuck 30 miles away from home. I got the idea of calling a taxi and then letting my parents deal with the fare at the front door. So that's what we did, and my friend hopped on along. We reached at my parents' house where I explained to them what happened and they had to pay a reasonable fare. My friend walked home from my house. Long story short, my parents complained and the school changed its policy and started to do a head count before and after a field trip. 15 years later, my younger sister goes to that school and they still do a head count before and after each field trip. TLDR. My friend and I didn't get to the meetup place on time and got left behind on a field trip. Had to take a taxi home. 15 years later, the school now does a head count before and after each field trip. You did not pick up. The school did. Big time. They should be lucky your parents didn't sue them. Head count before and after a field trip is like #1 requirement. Kids are kids. The adults are responsible. How is that a TIFU? That seems like something the school should have had implemented before they left kids behind. One time in middle school, a field trip bus left without me, and I was one of the teachers. It can happen to anyone. P.S. My school does a student head count, but that time, at least, they didn't think to count the teachers. That was a win for you. You took care of your own problem and got home. Head counts, roll call is at least 50 years old, because we did it when I was in school in the 80s. The school administration must have been holding their breath waiting to get fired, sued for incompetence. A mere 15 years ago in 2008. Don't see this as being a TIFU on your end up, it was the school's. The buddy system. Not a foo for you. And good on you for having the brains to hire a taxi to take you home. As someone who has been a teacher a lot longer than 15 years, I have always done a head count whenever we are outside of a closed environment. Head count when you leave, after any transition and when you are returning. This is basic common sense. Whoever was leading your field trip was an idiot. I got left on a field trip when I was 13 and hitchhiked about 30 miles home. First I got a ride to some college kids' dorm to call my parents, but no one answered, so they drove me home. My parents were not happy with the school, and I can only imagine what happened to the student practice teacher who had been responsible for their head count that day. You might have indirectly saved some kids' lives by forcing that policy change. If they weren't doing head counts all those years, who knows when and where another kid might have been lost. Head counts and careful tracking of youth participants is normal procedure everywhere. If it isn't, then it needs to be. For anyone reading, if you're a youth participant or have children who participate in these kinds of events, don't be afraid to ask how the group leaders maintain accountability and ensure the safety of participants. The fact they didn't head count before and after is stupid as hell. That's why you count.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.